said Holly. His pregnant neighbor Ryan is the oldest in this trilogy. He was betrayed once by love. Once burned, twice shy. He can't stand women except for when they have sex with him, until he meets his neighbor. Ryan watched them go up to Devon's room. He called Rose, his neighbor. Hey, want to meet up at our property line and have at it in my truck? Rose agreed. Ryan drove out there and parked. Rose met him. Ryan smiled as she got into his truck. I knew you couldn't pass up some good sex. Rose blushed. Ryan kissed her, and lifted her onto his lap. Rose kissed back. Ryan kissed her more deeply and undid her shirt. Rose kissed back. Ryan cupped her breasts as he kissed her. Rose moaned. Ryan unzipped his pants and kissed her nipple through her bra. Rose moaned. Ryan pushed her skirt up and her underwear aside and thrust up into her as he sucked her nipple through her bra. Rose gasped and moaned. So good. Ryan groaned and sucked her nipple harder as he thrust. Rose moaned. Ryan slid a hand between them and stroked her clit as he kissed her. Rose moaned and kissed him. Ryan groaned. Oh God! Rose rocked against his hand and moaned. Ryan came in her, bucking up. Rose gasped and kissed him hard. Ryan kissed her and smiled. Damn, that was good. Rose nodded. Ryan rezipped his pants. Rose fixed her clothing as well. Ryan grinned. Same time next week. Rose smiled. Sure. Ryan drove back to his house. Rose headed to her home. Ryan went through his week looking forward to having sex with her. Rose met him for their date. She wasn't dressed like she normally was. Ryan, we have to stop. I don't think I'm allowed to have sex when I'm pregnant, Rose said, hoping he wouldn't freak. Ryan frowned. What? I'm pregnant, with your baby, Rose said again. Ryan stared. Oh, how long have you known? Yesterday, she said. Ryan nodded. Then you have to move in with me, Rose shrugged. Is that what you want? Ryan nodded. That child is as much mine as it is yours, Rose nodded. Ryan kissed her. It's okay, Rose kissed back. Ryan smiled. Go ahead, back to your place and start packing everything up, Rose nodded. All right, see you soon. She kissed him and left. Ryan went back to his house and moved stuff around in his room. Rose packed up her small apartment. The furniture had come with the apartment, so only the big stuff she had was her TV and a coffee table she had picked up at a garage sale. Ryan helped her move everything upstairs into his room. Rose sat down on his bed watching him. Ryan put away her clothing and set her toiletries by the sink before sitting beside her on the bed. Rose leaned against him. Thank you, Ryan smiled. No problem, I always take care of my own. Rose kissed his cheek. Ryan patted her knee. Get ready for bed, I'll be in the shower. He walked into the door across from the bed. Rose nodded. She undressed and slid on a light nightgown and slid under the covers. Ryan showered, then got under the covers naked beside her. Rose cuddled up to him. Ryan held her close and fell asleep. Rose slept too. Ryan woke in the morning and grinned as he cupped her breast. Rose moaned, waking. Ryan kissed her. What a good way to wake up, Rose nodded and kissed back. Ryan rose up over her and kissed her. Rose kissed him, adjusting beneath him. Ryan captured her hands above her head and kissed her. Rose kissed back, pressing lightly against him. Ryan groaned and rocked his erection against her. Rose moaned. Can we do this? Ryan groaned. If I go slow. He pulled her nightgown up. Rose nodded. Ryan pushed her thighs wide and slowly entered her. Rose moaned. Yes, Ryan groaned and slid all the way in. Rose smiled. Ryan kissed her and slowly thrust back and forth. Rose moaned and arched against him. Ryan held her still as he slowly thrust. Rose moaned. Ryan groaned and rubbed a thumb over her clit as he slowly thrust. Rose gasped and shivered. Ryan kissed her and pushed her clit with his thumb. Rose shuddered and came. Ryan groaned and thrust deep and shuddered as he came. Rose moaned and took it all in. "Oh, so good." Ryan groaned and kissed her neck. Rose smiled. Ryan held her close. Rose snuggled into him. Ryan rolled away and went to get dressed. "I have to go to work today," Rose nodded. Ryan dressed and left. Rose got up later. Ryan smiled when he met his mistress for lunch. "I'm sorry, but we can't see each other anymore," Rose cleaned, looking through whatever she picked up. She saw his meeting. Ryan came home that night and smiled when he saw her. "Hey Rose, where were you?" she asked him, somewhat nicely. Ryan smiled. "I had a business meeting." Was her name Mistress Ellen? Ryan frowned. "Yes, it was, but it's not what you think." "Tell me, what should I think?" she asked. Ryan glared. "I was ending my contract with her, because you are my main concern right now." "Prove it," Rose challenged. Ryan gritted his teeth. "I don't have to, we aren't married, and I ended it." Rose gave him a glare. Ryan kicked his shoes off and set his briefcase down. "Why are you pissed anyway? You just moved in, and already you're taking over my whole life. I'm a female, I'm pregnant, you're the father, how many more reasons do you need?" she asked. Ryan sighed and took his tie off. He shoved a hand through his hair. "I know, okay, I'm doing my best," he snapped. Rose sighed and sat down. "I know, I'm sorry." Ryan sat down beside her. "Let's start over, okay?" Rose nodded and lay her head on his shoulder. Ryan sighed. "I'm trying, I am, but the last woman I had in this home betrayed me, so, give me time to adjust." Rose nodded. Ryan kissed the top of her head. Rose sighed. "I'm hungry." Ryan went with her to the kitchen. Rose rummaged through the fridge. Ryan smiled as he watched her. Rose fixed herself chicken Alfredo. Ryan made coffee for himself. Rose ate quietly at the table. Ryan sipped his coffee. Rose ate, then cleaned up. Ryan smiled. "Why don't you go bathe?" Rose nodded and headed upstairs. Ryan heated up leftover steak and rice. Rose moaned. Ryan smiled and soaped her belly too. Rose giggled. Ryan smiled and washed her shoulders. Rose settled against him and sighed. Ryan kissed her shoulder and rinsed her body. Rose picked up his hand and kissed it. "Maybe I can give birth in a couple of months here in the tub, with you," she suggested. Ryan smiled. "Or in a hospital if you prefer." She agreed. Ryan sighed. "I guess I'm just nervous." "Me too," Rose said. "Probably more than you are." Ryan nodded. "That's understandable." Rose snuggled against him in the tub. "I love you, you know, since the first time. I kept coming back because I hoped you would realize how much you loved me." Ryan stayed quiet as he stroked her belly. Rose sighed happily. Ryan got out and grabbed a towel as he walked out, drying. "Ryan." Rose got out, following him. "What's wrong?" She wrapped a towel around herself. Ryan sighed. "Just stop talking about love," he said bitterly. "Ryan." Rose stopped, frozen. She wasn't sure what to think. Her brain warred between him not loving her and having done something wrong. Ryan tugged on PJ bottoms. "I don't want to talk about it." He turned the light off on his side of the bed. Rose moved stiffly. She dressed and then left the bedroom. Ryan fell asleep eventually, then got up in the morning, making himself coffee. Rose sat in the kitchen staring at a wall. Ryan sipped his coffee. Morning. He sat across from her. "Hi." She got up and got coffee, pouring a huge mug full. Ryan finished his coffee. "Sleep well?" "Not really," she replied. Ryan nodded and put his coffee mug in the sink. "Going shopping," she replied. She put her mug in the sink as well. "I'll be back later." Ryan went to work. Rose didn't get home till really late, and something was a little different about her. Ryan sat across from her at dinner. "Something bothering you?" Rose shrugged. Guess not. Ryan sighed and pushed his plate away. What is that supposed to mean? Nothing, she replied. She was distant from him. She fell asleep on the couch that night. Ryan came down early the next morning and saw her. Rose stretched in her sleep. Ryan turned the light on and sat across from her. Wake up, Rose. I don't wanna, stupid sunlight, she muttered. Ryan frowned. Up now, he growled. Rose jerked up. You know, sometimes you can be a real jerk. Ryan frowned. Why are you sleeping on the couch? Are your hormones causing this haughtiness? No. It's you. You act like you care and then you don't. I'm not sure I even want to have your child now, she snapped back. Ryan straightened and tensed. His eyes filled with sorrow. You don't have to stay here, or put up with me, but please, don't hurt or get rid of our baby. I just want to know why. What is so wrong with loving me? She asked. Ryan sighed and stood. He walked to the window and looked out. Nothing is wrong with loving you, it's the fear you might leave me that makes me not want to love you. Why would I? We have a baby on the way, Ryan. I want to spend the rest of my life with you, Rose said. Ryan slammed his fist down on the window frame. She aborted our baby, then left me for another man, saying he had a bigger dick and more money. His hands balled into fists at his sides. Ryan. Rose was behind him, wrapping her arms around him. I don't want anyone else. I wouldn't hurt the baby. Those were just angry words. You are all I need now. Once the baby is born, you both will be my entire world. Ryan turned and hugged her fiercely against him and started to shake as he cried silently. Rose held him tightly. Ryan shuddered and cleared his throat. I love you, Rose nodded. I know. Ryan sighed and kissed her. Publication date, January 30th, 2013. https://www.bookrix.com/special.2